Continue our coverage. Rebecca Erbelding, a historian of American responses to the Holocaust, visited Sioux City's new Holocaust Rails exhibit. Now, Erbelding served as a historical advisor and an on-camera expert in the 2022 PBS documentary, The U.S. and the Holocaust. It was directed in part by Ken Burns. Now, she toured the facility and spoke out about the importance of this history.
I want people to recognize that we can't just look back at American response to the Holocaust in the 1930s and 1940s and say, oh, it was so easy to know what to do back then. People should have just done the right thing. But say, well, it's just too complicated now. There are too many problems in the world. I don't know what to do, and so I will just do nothing.
She was also a keynote speaker at Briarcliff and spoke about her book, The Untold Story of America's Efforts to Save the Jews of Europe.